All these MCQs are based on the NCERT textbook. I have given the relevant page number with every question from which the concerned question has been framed. Now, the first question is the term for transfer of pollen grains from anthers of one plant to stigma of different plant is. The options given are chesmogamy, ditonogamy, xenogamy, and clistogamy. The correct answer is xenogamy. Xenogamy is the transfer of pollen grains from anthers of one plant to stigma of a different plant. Next question is a typical embryo sac at maturity. Options given are 8 celled and 7 nucleate, 8 celled and 8 nucleate, 8 nucleate and 7 celled, and 7 nucleate and 7 celled. The correct option is C, 8 nucleate and 7 cells. 7 cells in embryo sac are 3 are the antipodals, 2 are the synergids, 1 is the egg cell, and 1 is the central cell. But it is 8 nucleate because the central cell has 2 polar nuclei. Now the next question is, which layer of microsporangia nourishes the developing pollen grains? See, the developing pollen grains are nourished by the tapetum layer of the microsporangia. So the correct answer is A, tapetum. Next is, in members of which of the following families pollen grains maintain viability for months after release? The options given are Rosaceae and Solanaceae, Poaceae and Leguminosae, Poaceae and Rosaceae, Poaceae and Leguminosae. See, in the families Rosaceae and Solanaceae, the pollen grains maintain viability for months after release. So therefore the correct option is A. Next is, in water hyacinth and water lily, the pollination takes place by. The options given are water, water and insects, insects, insects or wind. The correct option is D, insects or wind. Although these are the water plants, these are the aquatic plants, but the pollination is carried out by the insects or wind, because the flowers in these plants they emerge out of the surface of water. So therefore pollination is not carried through water but through insects or wind. Next is, which statement is false about sporopollenin? We have been given the 4 statements. First is it forms intine of the pollen grain. So this is wrong because the sporopollenin forms the exine of the pollen grain and not the intine. Next is, it is absent at germ pore. Yes, this is correct. Sporopollenin is absent at the germ pore. Next is, it can withstand high temperature. Yes, this is correct. Next is, no enzyme can degrade it. Yes, this is absolutely correct. So the only wrong statement is A. Next is, the plant parts which consists of 2 generation, gametophytic and sporophytic, one within the other are. We have to tell the plant part which has both gametophytic and sporophytic generation. Options given are pollen grains inside the anther. Second is germinated pollen grain with 2 male gametes. Next is seed inside the fruit. D is embryo sac inside the ovule. See, out of these A and D, so these options are our answer, because option A says pollen grains inside the anther. See, anther is a sporophyte, whereas pollen grain these are the gametophyte. So one is this one, and second is a D option, embryo sac inside the ovule. Ovule is a sporophytic generation, and embryo sac represents a gametophytic generation. So therefore our answer will be A and D. So option A, that is statement A and D are correct. Next is, in some plant species the thalamus contributes to the fruit formation. Such fruits are called. Our options are false fruits, parthenocarpic fruits, true fruits, and none of these. See, the fruits in which are formed by contribution of any part other than the ovary are called false fruits. So if the thalamus contributes to the fruit formation, it means it is a false fruit. So option will be A, false fruit. Next is, the portion of embryonal axis above the level of cotyledons is called. Answer is A, epicotyle. because epicotyle is the portion of embryonal axis above the level of cotyledons, whereas the portion of embryonal axis below the level of cotyledons is called hypocotyle. So right, so our option is A, epicotyle. Next question is, presence of male and female flowers on different plants prevents. If the male and female flowers are present on the different plants, then it prevents the autogamy. It prevents the cell pollination, and it also prevents the geitonogamy. So our answer will be A. It prevents the autogamy. Next is, we have been given the four statements, and we have to identify the wrong statements. Uh, the first statement is, continued self pollination results in inbreeding depression. Yes, this is correct. Next is, majority of the flowering plants produce hermaphrodite flowers. Yes, this is also correct. Next is, majority of the plants use biotic agents for pollination. Yes, this is also correct. Next is, bees are the major biotic pollinators. Yes, this is also correct. So therefore none of the statement is wrong. All of these statements are correct. Therefore our answer will be option D. None of these statements is wrong. Next is, which cell of embryo sac forms primary endosperm cell? The options given are central cell, egg cells, an antipodal cell, a synergid cell. So the primary endosperm cell is formed when the the two polar nuclei of the central cell fuse with the male gamete. Actually, the two polar nuclei, they fuse to form the diploid secondary nuclei, and this diploid secondary nuclei, it fuses with the male gamete and forms a triploid endosperm cell. So therefore our answer will be A, central cell. Thank you.